Jehovah's Witnesses judicial committees are modern Inquisition. Shocking similarities and key differences. Introduction. Why this comparison makes sense. When most people hear Inquisition, they think of medieval Europe, dark chambers, religious courts, and people judged for their beliefs. But what if I told you that some of those same elements are alive and well today, inside the internal judicial system of Jehovah's Witnesses? This is not an attack on faith itself, but an honest, fact-based comparison between two systems that claim to protect spiritual purity, yet operate with secrecy, fear, and life-altering consequences for those judged. Over the course of this presentation, we'll look at history, procedures, testimonies, and the psychological effects. We'll hear from experts, ex-members, and even from court cases in the United States, Poland, and other countries. A brief history of the Inquisition. The Inquisition was a system established by the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages to identify and punish heresy. It began in the 12th century and, over the centuries, evolved into a highly organized network of tribunals. These courts were not only religious but often worked closely with secular authorities, meaning that being found guilty of heresy could cost you your freedom, or your life. Key elements of the Inquisition included secret trials, accusations based on witness testimonies, often anonymous, limited or no right to defense, severe punishments, including excommunication and execution. Today, historians recognize the Inquisition as a religious and political tool, one that was about control as much as it was about belief. The Judicial Committee system of Jehovah's Witnesses. Fast forward to the 20th and 21st centuries. Jehovah's Witnesses have their own internal system of religious courts, called judicial committees. These are made up of 3 male elders who meet in private to judge cases of serious sin, anything from sexual misconduct to questioning organizational teachings. Key facts about judicial committees. All meetings are behind closed doors. The accused cannot have a lawyer present. Notes are taken, but are kept strictly confidential. Punishments include disfellowshipping, excommunication, which leads to total social shunning, even by family members still in the faith. While there are no physical punishments, the social and emotional consequences can be devastating, often leading to depression, isolation, or even suicidal thoughts. Comparative analysis, the similarities. When you place the Inquisition and judicial committees side by side, several parallels emerge. Closed-door trials, both systems operate in secrecy, without public oversight. Accusations from within, the accused is often judged based on internal testimonies. Pressure to confess, in both, admitting guilt is often seen as the only way to receive leniency. Social consequences as punishment, instead of execution, today's penalty is social death, shunning. Authority structure, in both systems, a small group of men holds absolute decision-making power. Key differences. The Inquisition used state power, physical punishment, and often death sentences. Judicial committees do not use physical force, but their weapon is social exclusion, which can be psychologically devastating. The Inquisition was widely known in its time, while judicial committees often operate in secrecy, even from many members. Testimonies from former members. We'll hear from ex-members in the US and Poland who describe these proceedings as modern-day trials without justice. One former elder from New York said, "I saw lives destroyed not because someone broke the law, but because they asked questions." Legal and social aspects. In many countries, religious organizations have the right to discipline members internally. However, there is growing legal debate about whether practices like shunning violate human rights, especially when they cause demonstrable psychological harm. Psychological impact on those judged. Mental health experts compare the emotional trauma of being disfellowshipped to the grief of losing a loved one, except the loved one is still alive, just refusing to speak to you. Statistics and data. In the US, ex-Jehovah's Witness support groups have grown by over 300% in the last decade. Surveys show that over 60% of those who leave report depression or anxiety. Expert analysis. Religious scholars point out that high-control groups often use judicial systems not just for discipline, but as tools of social cohesion and fear. The culture of fear and control. Members know that one wrong move, one wrong statement, could land them in front of a judicial committee, with their social life on the line. An international perspective. While the rules are similar worldwide, the social consequences can vary by culture. In small towns in Poland, for example, shunning can mean complete isolation. In large U.S. cities, there may be more support networks, but the pain is still real. Summary and conclusions. Both the Inquisition and the judicial committees share structural similarities: secrecy, lack of due process, and life-altering consequences. The main difference: the methods have changed, but the control remains. What's next? Directions for change. Advocates call for greater transparency, independent oversight, and mental health support for those leaving. Where to seek help. If you've been affected by shunning or disciplinary action. U.S. National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 988. Recovering from Religion, recoveringfromreligion.org. Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses support groups, Facebook, Reddit, Meetup.